Alright, we are recording. Continuing. I'm not even going to bother with starting a timer. Actually, no, I will, so that I know how long. Forgot to... Yeah, this is technically repeat. What was just blank. Yeah, one thing I forgot I could talk about. Well, I can talk about. I forgot that it was a topic that might not be boring. So I talked about many times before my doing stuff with custom account keyboards, including some macro pads. The main macro pad that I've been using, which I do like, it's LEDs that I do use. It's RGB LEDs that I do. Sometimes act up. Finally decided, you know what? We're gonna fix it. And by we, I mean working with my dad, because he has far more soldering experience and this style of RGB LED. So let the experience do it. So you need to understand how the RGB LEDs work for this kind of stuff. It is okay. They actually connect in serial, and they have small controllers in them that, when a signal is passed out to them, they take a chunk of it, and they then, they take the first chunk that's for them, and then pass on the remainder. The next one takes the first chunk, which is the second chunk, relative to the first one, but it's sort of a bucket brigade, but they're pouring out a little bit at each stop, until at the end you don't have any. Well, I realized I actually do have one setting on it that may actually not be working. That's what we had to do. Because every now and then, he would decide that they would just start acting up. They would start flickering initially, and then, here we go. And then it would just, give up, and start having very wrong coloring. For recordings, it's supposed to be all the 8 LEDs are supposed to be red on the bottom. Their underglow LED is supposed to be red. Sometimes it would only be the first one that lights up, and it would be either blue or green. It may or may not light up the second LED, and none of the ones after that certainly. It was a problem. Well, what we decided to try doing, and because we tried moving LEDs around was giving us problems and things like that, what we eventually did, and it has worked, and I think it kind of sort of makes sense why, but it's also a how is this what failed? We just removed it. We moved the first LED, which of course is the first one, which makes any any issue there propagate out to all. We just bridged the data so that it you know what? I'm just gonna maybe there's something. I think what happened, because the bridging works perfectly, all the LEDs light up and behave as it should, except it's now 7 instead of 8. But that's fine. Where that first one is, I don't need it. What I think happened, and it's a stupid idea, but it may make sense, is if the voltage, because there's 4 pads there, VCC, so the voltage, the incoming energy, ground, data in and data out. We bridged the data in and data out, and it's perfectly fine. So those pads were fine. My thinking is it may have been the VCC was bad. That for whatever reason the pad there for the voltage had an issue. Because if the chip inside of the LED weren't getting enough power. I could see it then corrupting the signal trying to pass through. That it wouldn't just passively pass through. It has to know it has to have the energy to actually process what it's looking at. To know, okay, throw this out. Well, to know, okay, yeah, move this on, and because it needs to change the signal. So I could see it being an issue there. But I mean, it's been working absolutely fine. No problem at all. Now, it is also true, though, I could, and I have it, I just haven't done it. I could actually stick an OLED on this macro pad. The only thing is that would then force the top plate to be where it is. Because it would be soldered through that plate. Which I don't really want to do, because that would make it permanent. And it's like, if I can socket the OLED, which isn't, then I could remove it and change out the plate for whatever reason. Like if I wanted to, at least for a while, get stacked acrylic plate cases. I don't know if you still can. But yeah, it's like I don't want to do something that permanent to it. But yeah, so it's like it's working fine, but that is the best explanation I can think of. Is that it may have been somehow the VCC. I mean, it could also have been ground. It just ground seems less likely to me. Oh, it's over here. Yep, that's a footprint. Oh, so it's my footprint. Okay. It seemed to be the noise it's still, so. I'm just gonna try to lay these out flat in the corner. But yeah, if I use the OLED though, I'd be able to just have it name the layers, because that's what I'm using the LED for, honestly, is to identify the layer. Yeah, lighting light. Very nice feature of Q. But it's also, I built a new keyboard that does also have an OLED. The way it's soldered in though is onto still the PCB, so it doesn't interfere with the plate or anything like that. Seriously? Okay. And it does show the layer, what layers activated on it. It's very nice. I could do that for the macro pad. It's just don't want to permanently fix the top plate like that. The other keyboard I do like. It is weird. I'm not using it now because it's a compact 40%, so it does have a number row. And I was like, that's how you swap between. I have no idea what it was, but that's how you swap between items with the number row. And it's just, yes, you can get to numbers by activating a layer. It's just awkward, so I don't want to do that. Hey, it's saying that it's something. I'm gonna stack. Sorry, yes, I'm gonna knock that down. And I do like writing on it, but for some stuff it's like, no, I can't. It's like getting to some symbols is a pain. Getting to the number row can be It's not that bad, but it can be annoying. So it's like, not the most it could be. But no, for writing, no, I'm quite comfortable. I'm just surprised how quickly I adapted to using it. But I could see, and I did write up an article. I bought the thing myself though, so I didn't need to. I wanted to. With the article and video. But I do comment in there that a hypothetical Pi 50. It's from one of keyboards. Pi 40 is what I got, but just a hypothetical Pi 50. Which would be with a number row that I could see actually having the potential to become a daily driver for me, because having the number row would solve so many issues with symbols. But it's just that's not what we have now. It may come. One of the keyboards I actually just saw for me next week, I think it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks, they want to start offering the Pi 60. They have had 60% PCBs for. It's like one of them is basically the thing that they're best known for. That is actually what I'm using right now, and it's nice. I'm quite happy. But they're replacing it to use this new RP2040 controller that's apparently less expensive. Yeah. So for those of you that work with Raspberry Pis, it's the controller on the Pi Pico. You'd already know that. But it's just, it's a new controller that is less expensive, but still very, very capable. So that's why there's been some movement to go to that from the traditional things that are used for keyboard. Partly, I don't think it was just the whole, hey, we want to have support for Raspberry Pi stuff in UK. I think it was also the chip shortage. Because I think the AVR, that's what they're called, controllers that you would see typically used on keyboards, and you'd also find them on like the Pro Micro, that is the basis for many keyboard builds or MacPad builds. Those were actually pretty expensive and became inaccessible during the shortage. But the RP2044 is cheaper and survives. It's like that those are still available in good quantities, so a move has been made to that. Moves are being made to that, and that OneUp is also working on that, trying to replace their stuff with. And they have said they want to build more keyboards around that, so a 65%. I think they even said a full size. I'd like to see 75%. I like the idea of having like one keyboard for each size. Though the next thing that it's like I really do want to get is a split keyboard. It's like, okay, I've got 60% normal. Nothing fancy. I got 65%. I actually have two 60%. One was a B-stock PCB, so it's like, I'm not spending much money on that. That's what I want to do. Got 65%. I now have the 40% ortho that I wanted to try. I just legitimately have been curious about what it would be like. So seeing it on offer, it's like, I'll get that. Built it all myself. My dad watched it. He was actually going to the video. I guess it's 106%, not bad. But no, I did all that myself because I could. It actually wasn't that bad a build. It could have been, but it wasn't. what I mean by it could have been is that the RGB LEDs it uses are not super hard to put in because they have like, if you've worked with RGB LED soldering them in, you understand. But it's like I would like to try a split next, and at that point then say, okay, I'm kind of done with the builds to satisfy my curiosity, but I'd also like to do a 75% and 1800, which are 1800 is like a compact full size would be a way to put it. It's like, yeah, I'd like to try that, see what that's like. Hey, I did. We don't need to change. But it's also, I've got 2 keycap sets that I got a while ago. And I'd like to have them used, which is why I want to get the so I want to get a 75% that I'll use for one, and 75% is like 65%, so the main body of keys on a normal full-size keyboard, but you squeeze in the arrow key on a 65%. 75% you also have the function rail, so F1, F2, F3, so on. You have that up there. So it's like that way I cover the different layouts, different styles. But it's like, yeah, I want to try a split because I do think that would be interesting to try, just like 40%. And I already know what I'd like to do for that, I just haven't ordered it because I don't need it. I'm saying I only just built this thing a couple weeks ago. I don't think I like ping pong. Sorry. So yeah, at some point I might do all that stuff, I just don't know when. Because that means Nova. And I also need to figure exactly how I want to put the, how I want to make use of the 40% build. Because as I said, it's good for writing on. I just don't know if, like, I want to have it as, like, oh, I'm going to write something, okay, I'll pull that out. Or if I want to leave it. But now I am still, like, attaching it to the desktop when I'm going to be writing. So I'll be doing that shortly, probably. Because I do have some writing stuff to do today. But, yeah, it's just, you know, it is one of those things where it's like, I like this, I like having I like satisfying my curiosity about what they're like to use. Also, when you build them from a kit, they're not too expensive typically. They can be, but they don't have to be. I mean, here, let me actually check. Here. I can also look something else. Yeah. Okay, but that is on disc. Okay, so I got the Pi 40 from One Up Keyboards. The kit, as I paid for it, was $54. It is now $56. I pre-ordered it. At $56 though, it does include a stabilizer that they're charging $2 for, which that is more than it's worth. But to be fair, I mean, it's a good price. $54 for the kit, so you still need switches, you still need keycap, but it has everything there that you need. It has the OLED, and that's the everything. So here, let me actually Drop the OLED. That was $4.50. Drop the rotary encode. That's $2. Drop the knob, obviously. Although it looks like that's free. Yeah, they're not charged for that, so I'll leave that in there. Drop the stabilizer. No switch pack. It's $47.50. $25 for the PCB for the base stuff. $4.50 for the controller, the Pi Pico. $6 for the 48 diodes. Oh, yeah, of course. Turn off the $12 for the RGB LEDs. So it's like enough to just have a 40% ortholinear keyboard. Now, true, you do have to solder it all in. $35.50. Okay, now I got all the extras, so that's why it was $54. The other thing that I would have gone for would have been the version 6 of the Plank, which is also an ortholinear mechanical keyboard. The V6 right now, though, I want the V7, which supposedly they're working on. $110. Currently, it's on sale at $89. Now, true, it's hot swap, so there is that nice convenience, but $110, and that's just it. I would still need to throw in switches. I would still need to put in to purchase keycaps. Okay? The keycap, well, yeah, so the kit I paid for $54. The switches I paid for, I actually have still this thing, $33.60 for the switches. And I could have gotten cheaper switches, but these were switches I wanted to try. And it's actually not super expensive either. The keycaps, $75. The keycaps were the most expensive part of the build, almost half the price of the build that I did. So those same keycaps, well, now they wouldn't be the most expensive. The Plank would have been the most expensive if I went with that, and I still wouldn't need switches on top of that. Yeah, I'm good. I still, it's like didn't spend too much. So it's like, yeah, I'm also looking at so $110 to get the acute keycap set add-on for it is another $20. So at $130. And let me see, a switch pack $70. So apparently they won't sell them in 48. 70 pack. The Holy Pan, I'm looking at Drop, by the way. That's selling those stuff. They actually sell the keycaps that I purchased, but the kit and the switches I got from one of. But the Holy Panda switches are out of stock. Drop Holy switch packs is out of, well, something. Okay, so the Drop Halo switch packs, I can't read all what it says, $25 there. So that right there would be $155. That's basically what I paid, actually, in total. But that's not necessarily what I want. That actually might be the closest. Some of these just, that's silent. That's going to increase. Why are they listing SMD? That won't work with me. Wow, that's actually kind of silly. It's okay, it would have worked out nearly the same. But I also have per key RGB lighting. I have an OLED, and I've got an encoder. So, yeah. And if you cut those out, that saves like $20. So, yeah, I have more than if I had continued to wait for the Plank V7, or just decided to go with the Plank V6. I mean, it's when you get a kit and have to build it yourself, you do tend to save some money. Not always, but this is one example where I definitely did. Definitely did. And I know I need to be stopping. I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else I can talk about? Anything else? Well, there's nothing else that is interesting because I've not said anything interesting. But is there anything else to talk about? Oh, I forgot to make a note there. So I'm just looking. I got Rust Station East and then Splatter Station. How long do those take? Rust Station East, Splatter Station. I'm just pulling up the wiki. Rust Station East is saying 1 hour for the average length. That's good. And same with Splatter Station. Okay. Looking at it, it kind of reminds me of the one that has the it's not, but the zero gravity thing. And that's big. But yeah. Oh, hey, I can also share this. I had to put some stuff together so that wait, why are they not here? I know it's over there. So that's um leave that. I've set up scripts for telling me what the total file sizes are. I'm just surprised that it's not for whatever reason the scripts aren't there. Because with Viscera Clean Detail, it's over 1 terabyte of the original recordings, and I still have all of them. And that's just going to keep going up. But with this script, I don't need to do that. So if I need that space off from the external drive, I can start deleting those. But the final recordings, the final encoding, because I reprocess it so it's smaller, yeah, I go from 50 megabit down to 25 as the maximum. I can check. I'm doing that right now. Yeah, I'm recording at 50 megabit because I'm insane. Well, it's variable bitrate, that's the cap, but it's still. And then I encode it down to 25 as my archive. But I like keeping track of that, and yeah, so it's 1 terabyte down to 733. Fun. But that also does tell you that this is actually not encoded at 50. It's probably being coded, that would work out, what, about 30, 35? So that, because the finals are more likely to be running up against that 25 megabit limit that I use. Anyway, I've certainly talked enough, lengthened this out, and it is also, so yeah, this is, because I have the settings thing open in OBS. In order to enable the splitting, so you hit a button and it splits, you need to go to Output, go to Recording. There's now an automatic file splitting checkbox. You check that off, and then it allows you to select if you are splitting by time, by file size, or only split manually. You need to select. It's like automatic file splitting. It's like, I set a hotkey. That's not automatic. That's manual file splitting. So it really is disconnected, the language there. So that's why I was complaining. Why I was complaining about it before, and also why it took me so long to figure out how to actually use it. And unfortunately, that is basically the only new feature in OBS that I would take advantage of. I don't have anything set up already for HDR, which they've added support for, and I wouldn't be doing AV1 encoding on either of my systems at the moment. Processing, maybe, but not the encoding. Alright, hey, I actually managed to make 3 videos out of this. So, yeah, see you next time.